Good, happy Sunday morning, March 15, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Sunday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Sunday morning, so let's begin. First up, Manchester schools closed for 2 weeks as concerns grow over spread of COVID-19. Superintendent says there will be remote learning during that time. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Tim Callery.
Do you need a new roof but think you can't afford it? Our average customer pays $7,500 for a total roof replacement, and we have finance plans with payment options under $150 per month. Call today. Century Roofing, we've got you covered.
I don't take closing our schools lightly.
In a press conference with city officials Saturday afternoon, Superintendent John Goldhart announces all Manchester schools will be closed until March 27th. Goldhart making the decision after a presumptive positive case was linked to the Manchester DMV.
We have been preparing for this possibility.
For the next 2 weeks, classes will take place through remote learning, which means teachers will have contact with students through telephone and online services.
School district staff have and are working to coordinate distribution of food and learning materials.
Goldhart will work with city and state health officials to determine if schools should reopen after the 27th.
These are difficult times for all of us, and none of us have all the answers. But the best we can do is support one another and look for healthy ways to face life's difficult times.
Mayor Joyce Craig also informing the public city operations will change as well. Starting Monday, residents are asked to call departments first and utilize online services.
Essential city services will still remain, including public safety, bus service, public works, including trash pickup.
Mayor Craig adds a plan is in the works to move alderman meetings online.
I must stress that our goal is to decrease social contacts while still providing essential city services.
And now the city has also decided to close down the Cashin Senior Center. Its library will remain open. However, programming and meetings there have been canceled. Live here in Manchester, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. COVID-19 coronavirus in New Hampshire. What you need to know. Officials detail symptoms and number of cases. 7 Granite Staters have tested positive for coronavirus disease, COVID-19, which was first detected in Wuhan, China. New Hampshire data. Number of positive COVID-19 tests, 7. CDC has confirmed 2 of them. Number of pending COVID-19 tests, 31. Number of negative COVID-19 tests, 212. Number of people tested since mid-January, 250. And number of people being monitored, 425. On March 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 outbreak a pandemic. Patients in New Hampshire. Patient number 1. Patient number 2. Patient number 3. Patient number 4. Patient number 5. patient number 6 and patient number 7. New Hampshire Emergency Operations Center now open. The center will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. Symptoms. Officials said symptoms might appear in as few as 2 days or as long as 14 days after exposure. Symptoms include fever, cough, and difficult breathing. Prevention. What to do if you're sick. Insurance information. How testing works. COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 3 people in Grafton and 3 people in Rockingham. And the common symptoms and how it spreads and prevention tips. And we will share that link with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page after the broadcast. More than 400 being monitored for coronavirus in New Hampshire. Number of cases at 7. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Jessica Moran.
Do you need a new roof but think you can't afford it? Our average customer pays $7,500 for a total roof replacement, and we have finance plans with payment options under $150 per month. Call today. Century Roofing, we've got you covered.
We can tell you that someone that was in the Manchester DMV on those days did test positive, so we're taking every precaution to notify everybody that could have come in contact with them and has a potential exposure.
The state's Department of Public Safety says health officials are still investigating if a woman with a presumptive positive case of COVID-19 is a DMV employee. New Hampshire's Department of Health and Human Services announcing the new case Friday night and alerting the public the adult female was in the Manchester DMV on March 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 10th. Officials say they're still investigating how many people she came into contact with, and they're directly reaching out to those people.
It's a matter of close personal contact within 6 feet for a period of time. So obviously not everybody was. But we do know that there's a handful of people that the public health investigators definitely have to talk to, and they're doing that now.
The DMV was closed on Saturday for enhanced cleaning. Businesses who share the same building but operate in separate spaces are staying open.
When I found out, I said, wow, and I felt bad for everybody exposed, but it's going to happen, and we're going to do the right measures to make sure everybody's safe.
It's scary, but, it's part of life, I guess. We just have to kind of deal with it as it comes.
And again, those businesses near the DMV are expected to stay open. As for the DMV, officials are expecting that to be open on Monday. In Manchester, Jessica Moran, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire legislature suspends operation for 1 week. State House only open for governmental operations until further notice. The New Hampshire State Legislature is suspending all activities for at least 1 week, leaders announced on Saturday. The State House will be closed to legislative members, legislative staff, and visitors from March 16th to the 20th. The building will remain open for governmental operations. COVID-19 in Massachusetts. Location of cases in Massachusetts. Let's take a look. Nine in Berkshire, 2 in Worcester, 65 in Middlesex, Essex 5, Norfolk 28, one in Bristol, and one in Barnstable. And to look at the confirmed presumptive cases. 119 it shows. And confirmed 19. In quarantine graphic and hospitalization. Patients tested. And if you want to see this, we will share the link with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page after the broadcast. Also, we can tell you that Governor Charlie Baker declared a state of emergency for Massachusetts on March 10th. Also, Governor Baker launches Command Center for Coronavirus Response in Massachusetts. Let's take a listen to that video from WCVB Boston.
Weight loss program that works. My medical team at MediWeight Loss was there for me when I needed them. 30 pounds, gone. I lost 100 pounds.
You can lose up to 10 pounds the first week. MediWeight Loss.
It's now been 2 weeks since Massachusetts started its own testing for COVID-19, including at tents like this one set up outside Boston Medical Center. Today we learned that the total number of people tested in this state is fewer than 500.
Inside the state office tower in downtown Boston, Massachusetts is now setting up what Governor Baker calls a COVID-19 command center, staffed by top officials from state government.
This team of experts will focus solely on pushing back against this disease.
Meanwhile, the state announced that as of Friday, it has tested a total of 475 people for the virus. The state had said earlier this week it could test up to 200 people per day, but says it couldn't find enough people who met the testing criteria.
The guidelines we were using, which were recommended by CDC, were such that if in fact you got tested based on those guidelines, it was highly likely that you probably had it.
Now, officials say they are significantly expanding the criteria for who gets tested based on their symptoms, personal contacts, and recent travel history. Plus, doctors and hospitals will now be able to send in test samples without first getting state approval.
Prior to the change, if you had someone in your office and you wanted them tested, you would actually, as the clinician, have to have a telephone consult with one of our epidemiologists.
At least 14 other states have ordered all schools closed because of the outbreak, but Baker has resisted such a step so far.
I do think it's important to remember that this all comes with the phrase, "at this time."
Health Secretary Sutter said today that the state has received 73,000 masks and other pieces of protective equipment from the national stockpile. Now that is 10% of what the state had requested, and many of those masks went out to Berkshire Medical Center, where they were down to just a few days' supply. Live in Boston, David Beatty, WCVB News Center 5.
Thank you, David. And Governor Baker will join us live for a special edition of On the Record tomorrow morning at 11 to discuss the latest developments in the coronavirus outbreak.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Third presumptive positive COVID-19 case confirmed by CDC in Maine. Let's take a listen to that video from WMTW News 8 Maine.
My broken heart.
I got to hold him for about 5 minutes. And
breaking news, there is now a third presumptive positive case of the coronavirus here in Maine. I'm Joe Glauber. This just coming into our newsroom at this hour. 3 others are under review currently here in the state. The Maine CDC says the third case is a woman in her 40s from Cumberland County. They also announced 2 additional preliminary presumptive positive tests, which came from a laboratory affiliated with Maine Health, making now for a total of 6 suspected cases. But the CDC making these distinctions, 3 preliminary presumptive positive tests in the state, brings the total to 3 in that category. And more samples will be, those samples rather, will be sent to the CDC for official review.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Trump reveals he has been tested for COVID-19. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
After days of saying he didn't need a test despite potential exposure, today President Trump revealed he has been tested. The results just released by the White House, and they are negative for the coronavirus. After he had declared that national emergency, the House voting overnight to approve a massive aid bill providing enhanced unemployment benefits and free virus testing, with the Senate taking it up Monday. ABC's Trevor Ault with more on the precautions tonight at the White House.
Today, President Trump stepping before the podium to tell the American people he's been tested for the novel coronavirus.
I decided I should, based on the press conference yesterday. People were asking, did I take the test? I don't know, whatever it takes, a day or 2 days, whatever it is. They send it to a lab.
Tonight, the president's physician reporting the test was negative. For days, the president had been saying he didn't need one, even after concerns he'd been personally exposed to the virus.
I don't think it's a big deal. I would do it. I don't feel that any reason. I feel extremely good. Let's put it this way. I'm not concerned.
Are you being selfish by not getting tested and potentially
Well, I didn't say I wasn't going to be tested.
Are you going to be?
Most likely, yeah.
Overnight, his personal physician releasing a letter saying a test for the virus was not currently indicated, as he said the president was low risk, despite coming into contact with several Brazilian officials who have since tested positive, including communications chief Fabio Weingarten, seen here next to the president. The Brazilian delegation also met with Miami Mayor Francis Suarez, and he too is now infected, and Brazil's president Jair Bolsonaro will be tested for the virus for a second time on Friday.
Thank you very much.
With officials urging social distancing, the president's also drawing criticism for seemingly disregarding advice from his own agencies, shaking hand after hand Friday in the Rose Garden.
But why are you shaking hands, sir?
Because it almost becomes a habit. People come up to me. They shake hands. They put their hand out. It's sort of a natural reflex. Shaking hands is not a great thing to be doing right now. I agree.
Today, the White House unveiling new measures to limit the threat of exposure inside the West Wing.
You should space more.
Members of the media getting their temperatures taken before entering the briefing room. The vice president's office saying one journalist was denied entry because his temperature was too high. When asked if the coronavirus task force assembled at the same podium as the president and vice president were also being checked, they all nodded.
I had my temperature checked, too.
Even the president telling us as he left the room.
Was your temperature normal, Mr. President?
Totally normal. All right, Trevor Ault joins us now from the White House. And Trevor, you were in the brief room there, and the vice president said he had not been tested for the virus. This is the second time in 2 days he and the president have appeared next to each other. What's being done? Are they ignoring those social distancing recommendations?
Well, Tom, ABC News has obtained an email sent by Vice President Pence this afternoon to the entire White House staff urging them to avoid physical contact. It says the CDC recommends home quarantine for anyone who's had prolonged exposure, but it does specifically say that doesn't apply to handshakes and photographs. Tom.
All right, Trevor Ault with all those new developments from the White House tonight.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Magnitude 2.1 earthquake centered in Tilton, felt in multiple towns nearby. Earthquake, magnitude 2.1, hit at 11:07 p.m. Saturday. The depth was 2.36 miles. A small earthquake hit Tilton on Saturday night, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. The magnitude 2.1 quake hit at 11:07 p.m. Its epicenter was just east of School Road near Cleveland Independent Baptist Church at the depth of 2.36 miles. WMUR received reports of people feeling the earthquake in Belmont, Franklin, Laconia, Northfield, Sanborn, and Tilton. People reported hearing rumbling and said the quake made their house shake. One viewer in Northfield said the shaking knocked some items off the wall. Charlestown woman arrested in Bow stabbing. Suspect victim knew each other. A woman from Charlestown was arrested and charged with first-degree assault after a stabbing in Bow, according to police. According to a press release from the Bow Police Department, officers responded to a home on Bow Bog Road around 9:30 Saturday morning for a report of a disturbance and stabbing. Officers said they arrested Cassandra Fordman, 27, without incident. She was being held on a presumptive detention bail Saturday evening and is due to be arraigned Monday in Merrimack County Superior Court in Concord. Police said the victim was stabbed multiple times and taken to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Both Frodman and the victim knew each other, according to police. Manchester firefighters fight Spruce Street building fire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Cherise Leclerc.
For 10 years, New England homeowners have trusted Century Roofing. We get the job done right at a fair price. Call today to arrange a free estimate and to reserve a spot for your 2019 roof replacement. Century Roofing, we've got you covered.
Well, everyone managed to escape the flames when this 3-story apartment building caught fire tonight. Flames and smoke were seen billowing from that 6-family building on Spruce Street. Firefighters were called there just after 6 and say they had to fight a lot of this fire defensively before they could get in. 8 adults and 2 children live there. All of them are uninjured. Firefighters say this style of building makes firefighting difficult.
Old style New England 3-deckers, fire travels throughout, and that's why it becomes a real labor-intensive operation. The building really has to be dismantled by hand now, and that's where a lot of the work will come in.
They say this building is likely a total loss. The Red Cross is now helping those families.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we do want to let you know that Governor Chris Sununu will be holding a press conference at 1 p.m. with Education Commissioner and HHS Commissioner to provide an update on the state's response to COVID-19. That is today at 1 p.m. We will be sure to share that press conference with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page. And that does it for this Sunday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday morning. I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. Goodbye, everyone.